Housing goes up the list as one of the most important issues facing Britain today. The question of will your kids ever own a house is a very big and a very important one. I'd love some of your views on that, please. Farage at GBNews.com. So Michael Gove, who is Secretary of State for Levelling Up, for Housing. And by the way, since the Tories came to power, we've had 11 Secretaries for State in charge of housing and 16 ministers in charge of housing. Is it any wonder that we're in the mess that we are? But Gove's big mission today was to talk about house building. The government have a target of 300,000 new dwellings every year. And yet, for 2023, it's unlikely they'll build more than 160,000. So Gove gives this big speech where he says, we're going to build, we're going to develop, but we're not going to build on the Greenbelt. Well, fine. Actually, the concept of Greenbelt around our cities and towns to stop urban sprawl is something that I very much agree with. But as to the big message, it's totally confusing because I heard no repeat of the target of 300,000 a year. It felt to me that had been dropped. And then he says, whilst we want local government under local democracy to make decisions, we can and we will, after 3 months, override local government, leaving me, I have to confess, somewhat confused as to whether anything has really changed at all. But here is the most significant part of his speech. It's what he didn't say. Michael Gove, in reference to housing, made no comment whatsoever on our net migration last year rising by 745,000. We need to build a new dwelling in our country every 3 minutes, one dwelling every 3 minutes, just to cope with net migration numbers, let alone the shortage that we have already. And when it came to questions, of course it was GBNews' Chris Hope that raised the rising population. And Gove did say that a rising population has an impact. No, it is, Mr. Gove, not an impact. It is the single biggest issue. And I felt today with Gove's speech that actually he showed himself and the government to be more out of touch with the rest of the country, to be more out of touch with reality than they've been at any point in time. When it comes to housing, they're a complete waste of space. And I'm sorry if that sounds like a harsh opinion, but I really, really mean it. Tell me, will your kids ever be able to have a house?